Yes, this is episode 2 of Experience Real Podcast. I'm here with Kieran Gething. How you doing, buddy? You alright?
Very good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So tonight you were supposed to be boxing. How does it feel? Instead you sat in here with me. Not that much of an honour, like.
I'm just disappointed that I didn't get the opportunity. It's happened to me twice now, 3 times altogether, with the same injury, and I just want to get it past now as quick as I can. Looks like I'm going to be going private operation in October.
Yeah.
So if I can get that done, then that's out my brain then, do you know what I mean? I hope the operation goes all smoothly as it should.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, I think it's December, I can start going at it out again. So I'll be a bit restrained through Christmas, possibly on my diet. And then we probably look at February maybe to get a build-up fight again.
Yeah.
But just feeling, I almost felt a bit desperate when I first done it. When I redid it again, because we had 8 weeks break at the start of lockdown, you know, and I didn't punch at all, and it felt like it was going right, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's got to be hard mentally, I expect, as well as physically. Just keeping your brain in the right place whilst thinking, can't do what I usually do. But how have you kind of gone around training now? Can you do much outside of the punching side of things?
Yeah, I've been doing strength conditioning with the PT I picked up, because I took a new format this time. I took a block of classes with a boy I've known for a long time, but he started a PT sort of setup in the gym, and it's been going fantastic. We've been building up nicely. I've been feeling well. He's saying you look rounder, you're looking stronger, and we were doing reflex work and things, but I can't now. I've been carrying on doing that, but I can't do. I can't give an example. Something like a press where I'm using the elbow.
Yeah.
I've got to do things like flies where I'm keeping my arms straight. But we've dropped all that now again since the diagnosis last Friday.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a case of running when I can, and because I've got a problem with my ankle as well. It'll be a case of running when I can, and then picking it all back up in December time.
Yeah, I suppose running will keep you fit, and try to keep the weight down as well, I expect, is a massive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Weight is a huge thing in boxing, but my heart rate's still, below 50, so I'm keeping myself fit. I run a construction company, so I'm staying active with that. And it's just keeping the weight down is going to be a big thing.
Back to the construction company, I was going to say, I've seen that obviously running the business as well as your boxing. God, you must be a pretty active guy to be able to do all that as well as training.
Yeah. I mean, it was a stressful period, which annoyed me again. I invested 1,000 or more into this training camp. A lot of time, a lot of stress off the job as well.
Yeah.
A lot of time off the job leading to stress for me. With regards to supervising and stuff, but that's the nature of the beast. I'm trying to build something that's going to last for decades, not just until I finish fighting. I'm going to be scratching around wondering what to do. With this, the idea is that my boxing profile helps me build the business.
Yeah, 100%.
Which I think, when you see someone in the local newspaper or whatever all the time, it become a more reliable name or brand.
You build exactly, that's what I was going to say. You build your own brand.
Yeah.
People see you boxing, they're like, oh, that boxing boy's got a building company, let's get in touch with him. It's bound to help.
I think it has worked, and not only that, it helps set me up links with my sponsors as well. One of my newest sponsors, Phil Jones Timber in Ebervale, they've been fantastic for me, and the lady who runs it, Danielle, is a great person, and I've set an exclusive link with my company now that we only get our timber supply from them, and they're good to us with deliveries and things like that, and it's helped my construction company, especially through COVID, with materials and stuff were getting scarce. It's helped me meet supply and demand. It helped me meet the demand, because I've had the supply. So, it's been positive for that, but like I say, it is a stress, and I do run around a lot.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because I know from my day job, I'm kind of organising people to go and sort of do work, and it can be stressful. So that on top of knowing you've got to be at your training session, media obligations, whatever you've got to do, it's not can't be an easy task, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy the media stuff because I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
So that bit for me is more. It feels more like a pleasure, and I enjoy training. So which is a good thing, and I enjoy the business side of my construction company.
Yeah.
I don't like doing this picking the trowel or the shovel up. That's what really annoys me.
You like to point the boys to do that bit, is it?
Yeah, but that doesn't get to happen too often anyway. So.
Yeah, I can't fault that. But getting your feet on the ground with work as well, I'm sure that inspires the boys as well. So
I'd like to think so, maybe.
Yeah, and just to make all that run fluid takes a lot. It's not a simple task to run all that. So fair play to you, And so I see you got like the MTK Global contract. How did that come about?
The golden contract. The originally, do you mean the tournament I was in, or
that's it? Yeah.
Originally, it was supposed to be 8, I think, of some of the top super lightweights in the world. Really, they had Kazakhstanis in there, the French boy fought in there. They had an American in there who fought as well, but they had people from Argentina. They had a bunch of people around, but different situations happened, and injuries, maybe financial disputes. I don't know the reasons behind it, but they had people drop out the tournament. And originally, on that date of the quarterfinals, I was supposed to be boxing on a undercard of like a build-up show, so not a big deal really. And then 6 weeks out, then we had the word that I'd be boxing as a sort of a backup bout, so the winner would be able to step in on the undercard. And then about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks out, I can't really remember. We got the invite to go up to the main tournament then, so it was all a bit of a rush. I didn't really get to enjoy the build-up as I should have. I didn't take it. I had a lot of stress with work at the time. On a cold case I'm still involved with, but I didn't approach it well enough. I didn't make the weight good enough, and I take total acceptance of that. It was a good opportunity though. I'm mega grateful to MTK for giving me it.
Well, 100%. It's got your name out there as well, isn't it? You've got to look at it, take the positives from it. It's.
I mean, I got the main event or co-main event as Sky Sports headline bout. So
you cannot fault that.
I dreamed of when I was a kid.
Yeah, 100%. And to have that turnaround all in the space of 6 weeks, it's not the ideal situation for anyone, is it? You'd like to have a lot more time to prepare for something like that. So just getting in there.
It was really good for my book. So I wrote a book that I started at the start of that year, and then I was building it up, and I thought I don't really want to release it with a fight diary of a fight that doesn't really mean a lot, but it still would have been insightful, but it would have given a different view of things, and then it just turned out to be the absolute whirlwind I had going up to it. That led maybe for a great diary section in the book.
I'm about 2/3 of the way through. I have read a fair bit of it, and
hope you're enjoying it.
No, it is a really good read, and fair play to you. Like I said before, well, that's another thing to your bow, really, and another string. You go.
Yeah, something I want to pursue as well. And when I finish fighting, is writing another. I've got an idea for another 2. One being a novel, one being another boxing one. And if I want to do it when I pass that, then great. But they all say everyone's got a book in them, and I've written about half of one.
Well, mate, that's class. To be fair, can't fault that at all.
Thank you.
So, where do you go from boxing? I know obviously you've still got plenty of years left. But what's the step-by-step sort of plan, or are you just gonna?
Yeah, I've always had a plan.
I was gonna say.
13. Up to where I am at the minute, I'm not a millionaire yet, like the original plan, but we're building towards that. For me, I always said I'd like to finish fighting at 30, so I don't really want to go past that. But with this injury taking a year out of my career, I'm possibly intending to push it back to 31 then. After I finish fighting, I've got ambitions of opening a licensed gym in Abergavenny, which would be, a really cool for
Quality,
me.
yeah.
Pursuing the sports shop, the retail. I'm opening a sports shop now. Next week actually is the launch.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So
Where's that going to be?
it's going to be in
Yeah.
Pontypool, arcade in Pontypool.
Yeah.
It's only a micro shop, but it's going to be basically giving a bit back to my sponsors who've given me for so many years, and hopefully benefiting a little bit from it as well.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah.
But yeah, pursuing that is sort of expanding that is an ambition of mine into Abergavenny.
Yeah.
And longer term, then going into media, doing things like podcasts. And
Yeah.
I think there's a big untapped potential in Welsh boxing scene, and to be honest with you, British boxing scene in an amateur sense.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of attention given to people on their way up.
Definitely.
I mean, you look at football and lots of people know who the youth players are in Newport County. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no one knows anything about the youth champion in the welterweight division. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you don't really get the recognition possibly they deserve, and someone like you coming from the sport could really open that up for them as well.
Also, it's something that I think a lot of the young boys deserve, because people think you make it pro and you're a big deal, and you're not at all, because I've actually paid forward for nothing 3 or 4 times as a professional.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't mean anything. The hard work and hard graft goes in, and the 10 years before you actually turn professional. So these boys who are 5-6 years in, they really do deserve some sort of recognition.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of putting your body on the line for not a lot back from the people who are going to watch you to start,
The real pride I had in my career was boxing for Wales.
Yeah.
I'll openly admit that. I could probably go on to win a European title, and it wouldn't have mean as much to me as it did for fighting for Wales.
Yeah.
My medals and my Welsh vest, they do mean the world to me, and that's because I always looked up to doing that. And it was a great sadness of mine. I never got to fight in the Commonwealth Games, but I had a real beast in the division that they ended up going with, and I couldn't knock them for that, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for a lot of boys, the satisfaction is in the amateurs, and the recognition comes after.
Yeah. So if you were a boxer and you could start over again, a young kid comes up to you, say for instance, I want to be a boxer, Kieran, can you point me in the right direction? Where do I begin?
You definitely got to get to a gym where a coach cares about you, because there's a lot of gyms about where a coach doesn't actually care too much about you.
Yeah.
They'll put you in there pretty much straight away. Maybe in their ideas it's an acid test, but you've got to take your time and treat every fight different, every young person differently. But yeah, for me it would be get to a coach who really cares about you, and if you're talking about people with ambitions of going into the professional game, you should start networking early. Really.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing that all the promotion and stuff is down to the fighters mainly, which it shouldn't be. But they should get in touch with people. They should really start building a fan base as soon as they can.
Yeah.
Getting people to come to their fights, getting them interested in watching them, and get people who care about you just in your corner.
The social media aspect's so huge now, and that's another question it kind of leads into a question I want to ask you about. Obviously you got all YouTubers now sort of signing up for fights and stuff, and that's purely, as you say, through the attention really, isn't it? And
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing personally. It might be a bit of a farce, but if it's entertaining,
yeah,
who really has the right to say what's entertaining?
Yeah, well, it brings eyes to the sport, doesn't it? And maybe people, will buy the pay-per-view, and they'll see someone like yourself on that card, and then
the last one that happened was Billy Joe Saunders was on the undercard.
Yeah.
Now people were slating the fact that a world champion was on the undercard of 2 idiots sitting there.
Yeah.
But how many millions of eyes were on him?
Yeah, he did nothing wrong for his career, is it?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
These positives you've got to bring out of everything, because you can just look at the negatives and you could be the
Yeah.
day. But at the same time, you look at the positives, take what you can from it, and then move on.
Maybe we should start calling some of the YouTubers out.
Yeah. Instead of they don't listen to the people who are stupid enough to fight them, mate.
Someone they think they could win
Yeah,
against.
yeah.
They'd probably they'd probably be turning off the notifications for you if you start calling them out.
Block.
Yeah, definitely. So, how long did it take you to sort of write the book? Like, was that short? Like, it must have took a fair bit of time to get that.
No, to be honest with you, I banged it in like 16 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only real thing that took much time on there was the formatting of it.
Yeah.
Because I did all that myself. And obviously the month diary took a month.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was only doing 5 minutes of writing a day because it was just a summary of my day. But the actual section 1, the summary of the book, the 10 chapters or 12 chapters, the bit that actually means a lot to me, because it was a natural outpouring of what I was feeling at that time, you know. And that was the bit I really enjoyed, and that, like I say, took about all together 16 hours, 2 or 3 sittings.
Yeah, fair play.
My kids were in bed. I was sitting on. I remember how I did that because I wanted the same vibe, the same feeling every time I wrote it. And I put the girls to bed. My wife was working late. I turned the fan on in my bedroom, turned the main light off, and just started typing.
Proper procedure in place.
Yeah.
This is how we're doing it.
You had to. I feel like towards the end of the book, I got into a different rhythm, which I wasn't really happy with. But there's so many people that I've heard say, "Oh, I've got a book, but I keep adding to it. I keep doing this," and there's so many writers that say you never really finish a book; you just abandon it before you get to carry on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think definitely people should go and get your book because this, you've put a lot into that, in my opinion. Like, there's a lot of, it goes a lot deeper, definitely.
Yeah, so it's called Insight because it's supposed to be an insight.
Exactly.
And it gives you an insight into me, but hopefully it gives you a more of a general insight into what I feel other boxers go through as well. So hopefully young people can learn something from it, and in general you don't just have to be a boxer
definitely,
to be interested in nutrition, weight loss and training, and how I deal with injuries, how I dealt with my father's passing, how I deal with my family life. It's all in this. So
yeah, because you just see, on the Instagram of most professional athletes and stuff, you just see like the good.
Yeah.
You don't see like the real struggle.
It's what Instagram's like.
100%. Yeah, it's not just in boxing.
Everyone's glorified. Look at me on a night out. Don't look at me with the hangover.
Yeah, pretty much. I like that. Yeah, that is quality. So in part of your book, you mentioned giving up meat for Lent.
Yeah.
So could you go into like the thoughts behind that and the benefits really?
Brought up as Roman Catholic, so I take some of the values into my adulthood. Now I'm getting not doubtful because I feel like I still have faith, but it's some of the final points are a little bit harder to turn a blind eye to. But I think you've got to have faith to be successful and to be morally, I don't know what it was, morally positive maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it was about getting a bit closer to God in a time that was really hard for me at that moment. Helped me focus and to lose weight because I had a championship coming, so I had to keep my weight off. And yeah, it was they were the motivations behind it, and actually when you get into it, it isn't that hard.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the first week or so when you're detoxing from eating cheeseburgers. That's when it really kills. And when you start eating meat again after it, it is crap. You feel terrible. The food doesn't even taste that good, and but it could have done might have done longer term damage. And I come from a family where eating meat is like a staple part of our diet, man.
Definitely.
So it was hard for me to keep it off, but for those 40 days I did it.
I was going to say, energy level wise, do you think it kind of dropped off or picked up?
Man, I felt the fittest probably I've ever felt.
Really? Yeah.
Like I remember when I was boxing on the amateur team, Colin Jones, the national coach, was a legend. He said he sat us all down when we were in the airport, and he said, we were having a conversation in the airport coming back from like Serbia or something, and he said, if you could bottle fitness, you'd be the richest man in the world, or if you could bottle youth, you'd be the richest man in the world, because when you get older, you realise how precious that is.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit starting to realise with injuries like this. Hopefully I'm young enough to still enjoy it for a while.
Yeah.
But he was the one who sort of put that into me that fitness would be a great fitness and well-being is a very important thing, and the feeling you get when you're that fit, healthy, your heart's beating right and everything. I just felt like power coming from your balls, you know, it is fantastic.
That feeling there when you've gone out for that sort of run, you come back, you know, you sat down
full endorphins don't mean anything, you know what I mean?
Talking my missus's ear off for the next 10 minutes, and she's like, well, you just go and jump in the shower.
Yeah.
Sick of all this stuff you're doing.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're just talking shit to me, and in 20 minutes you'll go back to normal, so...
It's definitely a positive thing, it's a good thing for you, and everything science is being there, but it is, if you come from a background where farming and eating meat is a big thing, then it can be.
100%, yeah. I'd like to try it for a couple of days or something, but
if you could try it for 5 days, you feel benefit from it, 100%.
Yeah.
And there's loads of people that do like a day on, 5 days, 6 days off, or whatever. I think my sister even tried that for a while, so it's definitely advisable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say they don't feel as groggy, they feel a bit like...
Yeah, you do, you feel... When you think about it, you're not full of the crap that the animals eating anyway. So
Yeah.
all the pesticides and stuff that are sticking in the animal feed now, so it's all positive when you get into it, but you've got to have the willpower to do it all the time, and for me, especially going to the pros, it's hard to be like at that level all the time.
Yeah.
You've got some pros like I don't know, Sean McComb, like the Gary Cully who are supposed to be fighting tonight. They like more the professionals. They are always down to the bone, skinny as hell. But for me, that's just not the way I operate. I feel like I have to peak rather than I have to trough to get to a peak. Whereas they feel like they are elite athletes. They do it all the time. And you know, I'm a professional athlete. There's no doubt about that. But there's different ways of doing things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, it's a lot of fight. Like going into fight week, have you got much to cut off, or
I do personally.
You do, yeah.
Especially at super lightweight. I'm considering going back up to welterweight, depending on what the situation is like after my operation. If I can, I don't know, keep weight off throughout it, or if I talk to my PT and we go on about building muscle rather than taking weight off, which I think seems to be a bit of a better decision because I'm going into the second half of my pro career.
Yeah.
I've always been like really skinny down to the bone type of weight loss, and I'd like to try and put a bit of muscle on it, on my joints and stuff, and maybe that'll help with the injuries and all as well.
Feel more comfortable in that upper weight class then?
Yeah, there's less weight to cut, so you know, I'm going in there cutting far too much weight, and like I say, that was a big thing in my last bout where I didn't get a kick on the second half of the fight. I think most people had me up 4-1 first half of the fight, and then you know there's an argument for it to be a draw. I can't see how it went the other way, but for me, I still done enough. But you gotta respect other people's decisions.
I know. It's tough to swallow at times, though, isn't it, when you're in there and you feel what you feel, and
yeah, you know. I mean, he was the one asking, sort of stating about a rematch straight afterwards, and that's Jeff being a very proud fighter, and he felt that he'd won it, but was straight away saying we'll have the rematch.
That shows how much respect he's got for you as well.
Then, I think he felt that he'd have preferred it to have been without a doubt him going through. So to have that question mark over him obviously bothered him, but he's done great in his last fight back down at featherweight. And Andre Ward was watching the fight and reckoned he should have won it against world number 3. So I think that bodes well for me.
Yeah, definitely. So is that a fight you're gonna look to get back?
I don't know. If I do step up our weight, then I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
If I get to stay at super lightweight and he wants to do it, then I'm sure other teams can get something together because they work close together anyway. But it's not something that's on my immediate radar.
Yeah. So in MMA, obviously, you kind of weigh in like the day before. In boxing, is that the same? Then you weigh in the day before, and then. Yeah,
it's usually about 36 hours before fight, something like that. 1 o'clock on the Friday fight and Saturday evening.
Yeah.
You know, anything between 6 and 10.
Yeah. So what's like your rehydration procedure if you're allowed to go through it?
A lot of slow intake of fluid and stuff at the start. I try and put. We usually go to Nando's because you're putting the chicken back in, putting protein and salts back in your body when you're eating the chicken, which is good for holding the water into you as well. I've taken rehydration tests and stuff after the weigh-ins, and I'm rehydrated really well normally. But you don't know what long-term damage it's doing to your kidneys and your brain and stuff when you're taking hits.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not just the weight cut alone is a task, and then having to do that. And
that's the shame about modern boxing. For me, is that you're looking at making weight rather than looking at the fight.
Yeah.
Every time, which is why I think I need to go back up to welterweight to refocus onto the fight rather than just the weight cut.
Do you think that obviously you drop the weight, make the weight, put some weight back on? Do you think that would make a massive difference if you kind of stuck around that weight? Or
I'm not too bothered about because I'm not a physical fighter in a sense. I'm not leaning on people and chucking them around. Me being so much heavier than my opponent doesn't really benefit me too much. I'd rather be performing myself optimally, where I'm throwing 1,200 punches in a fight, which I've done for 3 out of my 4 10 rounders, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think the one that I didn't was maybe Craig Woodruff, who's fighting tonight. I think I threw 900 and something because he was older than me right away through the fight, you know. But I want those levels to be high all the time, and they just weren't there for the 4-1. So maybe it's because I'm getting older. Maybe it was just because I was unprofessional with it. But it's just a case of suck and see for a minute, I think.
Yeah, well, I think as you get older, it's not as easy, is it, to take the weight off?
I used to sit around at 60, 69, 70, no problem.
Yeah.
And now that is a problem for me.
Yeah, well, it's not an easy task, is it, with the weight?
No.
And so, obviously, currently injured, which is a shame. Going in for your operation, hopefully towards the end of the year.
October.
When can everyone sort of expect to see you back? Or
I think it'd be February time.
February time.
Yeah, I think so. That's sort of the little chat I had with my manager about it. And I don't know if it would be like a big fight straight away or if it would be a build-up fight, because I'd like to test what it's like in there.
Definitely.
I don't want to be going in there feeling okay, but having to be a little bit restrained in training, and then getting the ring and bang, it goes in the second or third round. I prefer, because the doctor has said there's a 3 to 6 months time where I'm still going to be feeling it.
Yeah.
So I prefer to get like the 3 months done, get a good level of fitness, get a nice fight out of the way. Oh, a nice fight, isn't it? No such thing.
No, yeah.
But get a straightforward fight out of the way where I can really test it out, and then go back into the big 10 or 12s then. Hopefully.
Yeah. So, take the pressure off, get one, settle back in, and last thing you want to do is, the fight of your life, and next thing you know.
That's the thing. That's why I had to put out this Kelly fight. It would have been the fight of my life. He's a top 100 ranked boy. He's from the weight below. Like I said, he's natural at the weight, so he'd be putting on stuff to go up. He's never been past 6 rounds, and he's not been in there with someone who's really testing yet. So it really would have been a positive, good fight for me. And if he did get past me, because he is world class, if he did manage to get past me, then great. But I saw so many opportunities where this could have been a real marker for me, but you can't help it, can you?
What fight, obviously, do you think you've taken the most from a mental standpoint? Because I know, obviously, when you're winning and it's all going sailing, I'm sure it's a different story to when you do get lost.
Probably the Tony Dixon fight.
Yeah.
Because it was my first 10 rounder, stepped up straight from 6 to 10, which now I know was a mistake, because the last 2 rounds I could have put more into him. Didn't know I had it in the tank. And it was me in the away corner, even though I'm 10 miles from my house. So I learned a bit from both those aspects. It was headlining on a television show, which was another learning thing. I'd never been cut before in a fight. I had a little nick in there, so I learned from that. I'd never been knocked down before, I don't think, and that might have been first knock. Oh, that was my second knockdown, but big pressure fight. My first championship bout. So there was so many things I learned from it. It was a fight of the year as well.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience for me. It's an experience I'll always remember. Sadly for the wrong reason.
I think though, win, lose or draw, you're going to take something from every fight, aren't you? And
Yeah.
you know, it's going to build you.
Well, you should.
As
As soon as you stop, you probably shouldn't carry on. So,
Yeah.
I think the last one was great being on Sky Sports. Like I say, it's a dream come true, and you're all, even the production side of things, you learn things all the time.
Yeah. So, for you with boxing, is it sort of goal orientated, or is it money orientated, or
Title belts is
Title belts.
all I want for boxing, really.
yeah,
The profile, like I said, will help for what I want to do when I finish. I feel like I've got a decent enough profile now to do whatever I want to do.
oh definitely, yeah,
In the area type of thing. But regarding a wider stage, or like I say, filling my trophy cabinet, that's all I really care about. I couldn't care who I fight for belts. I couldn't care what the money is for belts. I just want more titles.
Yeah.
I look at my lovely boss title belt in my trophy cabinet, and I just think you look so lovely.
yeah. We need some more.
Yeah,
we need some more. Yeah.
definitely.
Well, when you look back in 20 years, you know, you look back and think, I had that for that fight. You'd rather look back and go, this is what I've got, and
Yeah.
that's legacy, isn't it? That's it forever.
You look at money in your bank and you spend that, no problem. You get that title and trophy cabinet, and that's staying with your kids for years, you know what I mean? And
Something no one
I'd
can
like
take
5
away.
or 6 kids, so I'd like to give them a title belt each, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Christ, 5 or 6 kids. That's
I got 2 little girls now, so it's only another 3 or 4 to go.
yeah, you're almost there.
She all I gotta do is convince my wife.
Yeah, she's not quite as gay as she.
Yeah, not really, not yet.
Well, me and my missus are the other way around.
Yeah?
We haven't got any yet, but she's sat
dragging
on
all
4.
the time.
And I'm
Right.
like, when you haven't got any, 4 is quite intimidating.
I'm sure
You know what I mean?
Sure it is.
Yeah, yeah, right. So there's another thing I wanted to tap into. This is in the book, so people definitely still need to go read it. You spoke about getting intellectually alive about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So what do you think like kicked that off for you?
I don't know, I just felt like maybe I was coasting until then. Things didn't mean so much to me then. When I was in school, I always felt like I had looking back in hindsight, I really enjoyed it. It was an awesome time. But I always felt like I had like the depression or a bipolar hanging over me all the time. My friends used to call me bipolar. They said you'd be happy as hell one second and completely different the next. And maybe that was just brain development or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, what I really mean by becoming intellectually alive was I get to hold a conversation with myself and really maybe think more independently type of thing. And there's so much that I've developed, and I know that I've developed in those 5 or 6 years, and probably coincides with me moving away at 16, doing an apprenticeship in between Leeds and Birmingham. I'd only come home on the weekends really, and most of the time I'd stay in other people's houses, I wouldn't stay in mine. So it was that independence that really woke me up. I wasn't happy during those times, to be honest, because although I knew I was building a future, I couldn't really see past the fact that I didn't like the situation I was in with a lot of older boys, a lot of English boys, who I didn't really have too much of a forte with, and it was just felt like pressure and pressure makes diamonds, and I might not be a diamond, but I've certainly felt pressure. So I think that's probably what started and ignited any ambition or not any ambition, but a further ambition and maybe creativity inside me, because at that time was when I felt like I shouldn't have been bothered about what kids or whatever would say in school. I should have taken drama in school because I enjoyed it, you know what I mean? And the pressure of the kids calling you gay or something, you know, I wouldn't care I wouldn't give a fuck now. But back then, the kids you spend your time in school are your life, isn't it?
Mate, 100%. Like I look back now and I think like maybe this is a direction, like you said, you might have gone. Yeah. But you the pure reason you don't take it is because you're worried what your peers are going to say. Man. Yeah, I think everyone's going through that. I think.
Yeah, they do, and there's people who handle it differently. And you had that. Look at the situation with young girls now. I've got 2 young girls, right? I will not let them touch a piece of lipstick or makeup or whatever, because I really don't agree with it. That's my personal opinion. They're my kids. it's my choice to bring up what I want. You know what I mean? I think it's disgusting how, not the word sexualised because I don't like it, but how they're forced to grow up so quickly now. And for me, there's a complete loss of innocence. You know, I'm only 26 and I feel like I've lived an old man's life. I'm hobbling around.
Yeah.
That's probably because I'm a fighter, but I'm hobbling around. My back's aching. I don't know, every 26-year-old would feel like this, but I've got 2 kids, a wife. I feel like I've been through a lot. Do you know what I mean? And if I could have kept that innocence up until 18, 20, like these idiot Americans do, then I would. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not saved from yourself at that age because your parents are so, like nowadays, everyone is so consumed with their careers, which I am. Luckily for me, my wife isn't. She's happy with what she's doing. She's happy with the family and the life we've got. And I'm trying to progress us, but she's really content. So
There's a lot to be said for that.
yeah, 100%. It works so well for us, and if I can pass her values on to my kids, then that'll be absolutely fantastic for me. But I do also want them to have the ambition.
Yeah.
And they just get, like, these girls you see on the internet and all, they're so concerned by how many likes they got on their photos and how many, rich coming from some 60 bunch tensions. They're just so concerned with what the people who they call their friends are saying about them in school and things like that. When really they should just be happy. I can see my daughter now. She seems like she's cut from a bit of a different cloth than other kids, and I worry about it because I think that people are probably going to take the mick out of it. But at the same time, if she's strong enough, I think she's going to hopefully take my mentality on that and just say, I don't care.
I think all you could do is give them the tools, really, and let them lead their path and
Which
be
is
there.
such a worry, man. You don't understand. It's such a worry. You give them the tools and let them play with it and do what they want to, and then you just think, what if they fucking fall off the track?
Mate, like I said, I'm not in that boat yet, but I can try and put myself in your shoes, and it must be difficult.
It is a hard thing, but they are the joy of my life, man. They are absolutely amazing. So I wouldn't change it at all.
Hopefully, you can teach them lessons as they're going forward. Like, try and take them away from the situation of you don't have to be what they want you to be. You can be what you want to be.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the aim of any parent. And let's say, going back to what I was on about, people are so concerned about their careers and stuff now, whereas way back when it used to be the dad would only have to work to feed his family. The wife would be in the home looking after the home, and everyone had their jobs, had their roles, they knew what they were going to do. Now everyone's trying to reach for more, they're always trying to get something else. And that's the way I am. That's probably the way a lot of men used to be. But if everyone was more concerned with how their child was going to turn out, then there'd be a lot less innocence lost. There'd be a lot less kids just staring at the iPad 10 hours a day.
I totally agree, mate. It's and I'm drawn into the trap myself a lot of the time, as everyone is. Like,
literally, I've just said they're seeing iPad 10 hours a day. If I'm left on my own with the kids, they are getting chucked in front of that iPad, and I'm doing what I gotta do. But I try and keep them away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think as long as you got it in your head and you're actively doing something about it, it's when everyone else is doing it, there is obviously going to be influence. It's hard to get away from that. Yeah. But as long as they know they can point themselves in the direction they want to go, they definitely can. And I think people need to hear that, because it's not just younger generation. There's people our age, older, who are still in their lives they don't want to be in, like the monotonous lives.
Yeah, 100%. There's a bunch of people I know that feel like they've just never grown up. 30, 35 now, and between 30 and 35, and they're still acting like they're 22.
Yeah.
Because the life expectancy and stuff goes higher and everything. People aren't getting married until they're 30 odd, and no one's settled down in anything. But then when they start having sex and stuff and start banging out kids, and then they're not married, then they're not looking after who they should be looking after. That's when problems start.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
Not taking responsibility on soon enough. If they're a responsible person, then they have all their things in order, and they're going to university, and they want to get something before they start a family, and that's fair enough on them. Really.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you're trying to better yourself beforehand, but like you said, things kind of go the wrong. Like, I call it the wrong way. There's no wrong way, but it's a different way. Yeah, but like you were saying years ago, you work, you get married, your children. I'm not saying like getting married and everything's for everyone.
No,
Do you know what I
you
mean?
don't have to get married. You don't have to be the man working. You don't. You can be the wife. Can go off to work. What I'm saying is, you need some people to take responsibility. They need
100%.
people need to take take into account that with children, you are making someone else's life. You know what I mean? Those first 2 years, they're so important. My daughter wouldn't have the social capabilities she's got if I had been the same dad who she never saw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm working 100% all the time, because I'm the type of bloke who, at the time I was working for another company, I didn't really care about it because I was just getting paid to feed my family. I'm working to live, not living to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's 100% the best way to take it. Now it's a bit different because I'm looking at my own company. I'm looking to build something that they can take over. Do you know what I mean? But I do enjoy it, so it's not all work for me. Do you know what I mean? Some of it is play.
If it's a job, it's not a job, it's your business. But if you're coming home every day, like, happy with the fact you're doing something you love, you're a different person.
I can go home whenever I want. I can get the boys straight. I can take the boys straight off a job and say, "Listen, boys, I got some work to do on my house." Roll off to my house today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a fantastic feeling. That there's a lot to be said for being your own master, and there's too many people out there who don't think they can do it. My views on I suppose my political leanings, Welsh independence, I'm a big proponent of that, and that's another thing. You why would you give all your powers to someone else and then not expect them to work in your favour? You know what I mean? And that's such a big thing in Wales at the minute.
Oh, especially at the minute,
so many uneducated people that don't know it's an option. I didn't realise. I said about my intellectual awakening or whatever. I thought, wow, wouldn't it be good if we had a bunch of people who wanted Wales independent? Because I vote for them, definitely.
Yeah.
And then I realised that there are people out there who want Wales independent, and it's growing by the day. So I do think there's sort of a realisation happening at the minute, with down to the media and I say social media, I mean social media. A communication barrier that's being broken, and hopefully people can realise it is 100% your best interest to look after your own interest.
Definitely. I think like you said, it's opening up now. It's not just mainstream media. People can tap into other sources, and it's like watching podcasts has massively changed how I view the world.
100%. We were talking about the Joe Rogan before the camera started, and we can see down to the name. It's influencing everything.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's such a big thing being able to have that format to discuss ideas, and he goes on about it all the time about how two people with opposing ideas need to get in a room and talk about it for you to understand that idea.
Yeah.
That situation, and there's not enough people who do that. There's not enough people who argue a point in front of others to see which one's more valid than the other. There's a lot of positive reinforcement about, and in the wrong places. I think you have a lot of people like someone from the military, being brought up in the military. They think Welsh independence wouldn't be a good thing because of the military situation I would leave us in. You know what I mean? Maybe a smaller army or whatever. Look at the modern world. You don't need an army unless you're going out invading other countries. How often are you going to get invaded now? If you've got a home guard or whatever, that's basically all you want. You don't want to be going into these other countries messing in the other world's problems.
Yeah, chances are if it ever gets to the stage where that's going to be happening, it's going to be a lot worse than
there's no point
troops on the ground.
Yeah, 100%. It's you got the nail on the head there. It will be a lot worse than troops on the ground.
Yeah, you know, why would you put all them people into that situation they don't need to be in? Like, you know, I'm not saying go send bombs, but I'm saying like that's what they're all threatening all the time. So you know,
it's it's an age of awakening maybe, and getting reordering. I think there's a lot of it needed to be done. Down to the leaving the EU, a lot of reordering needs to be done. I think the reason we left the EU is because you're being governed by someone else, and you want your own rules, and they don't always merge up with the same things. That's exactly the same with Wales and Westminster. They will be looking after their own interests because they're only human. You can't blame them for that. Why would they care about people who are living 500 miles away from them?
Yeah.
They should, but it's human nature. They're not robots.
100%, you hit the nail on the head. It's so easy to point out faults with them, but probably if you had a bit of like insight.
If I was one of them, if I was getting paid 100k a year, I'd had houses all over the country in Wales, Scotland, England. Why would I want to devolve the union?
100%,
It wouldn't make sense for me to ruin my family like that.
No.
Unless I was a completely passionate martyr, which there are none of them around anymore. They probably all got burnt on the stake 2,000 years ago. So yeah, it's human nature, like you say. I don't blame any of them for what they're doing, but it's not in my interest. So why would I support them? There's not enough people who realise there are other options out there. And if you follow pages like Yes Cymru and the Welsh National Party, WMP, Neil McAvoy, these are people who can broaden your scope. And I'm not saying it's right for everyone. There's a lot of people in Wales who will not want that devolution. But look at the first referendum in Scotland. They're likely to win a second referendum, I think. There's a lot of people changing their minds a lot of the time, and I think that's down to education.
Do you kind of feel like they've sort of seen the light up there a little bit, and they're doing what's best for them?
Well, look at the way Nicola Sturgeon's going now. She's 3 days. Was it 3 days after Trump said there was no masks? She's putting masks on everyone or something like that. She's just basically flexing her muscles, I'd imagine. But they're on about maybe the English government U-turning and now putting masks on everyone. So that is just a small example of how obvious it is. Two opposing nations can have different ideas that are not going to match up when it's supposed to be given by one.
You'd like to think as well, two superpowers in effect would be able to agree on if there's a right way or a wrong way to do it.
Exactly.
Surely it's the same for everyone because we're all human. We're not.
And there evidently isn't. So yeah, I think Scotland probably get a second referendum and go independent. There's a lot of people up there who don't want to leave the EU to my knowledge. So yeah, I think with them it's more. I think the Euromillions winners backed the Scottish National Party, so that's why a lot of people know what the Scottish National Party it is. If Wales had thought of that injection of cash and could get in everyone's face, I think a lot of people would go for a Welsh National Party. And you've got Plaid Cymru, but it's basically baby Labour.
I think like if you've got the media on board, you've got the power, the money, the influence.
It's all propaganda. That's what we were saying about the old school media. It's 100% propaganda, and you will start seeing that with new school media now.
It was 100% the only way to do it then as well. So whoever could do that, their views are the winning views.
Murdoch ran it all, didn't he?
Yeah. So like, now there's a chance. There's a chance for people
to understand different views.
100%, yeah, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
I'm sitting down having this conversation, with you.
If 10 people listen and they start looking at different options, maybe it's not right for 7 of them.
Yeah, if you help one person, if someone takes one thing from this and it changes something and makes them look, expands their life.
That was going back to why I done the book. I'm not asked about
100%.
I'm not asked about what money I made off it. I'm not asked about. I'd like to sell more copies because I'm that ambitious type of person, but for me it was all about flexing my creativity, putting a piece out there that was part of me, and if I can help someone while I'm doing that, then that's ace.
Well, I really enjoyed it anyway, so here's one anyway.
Cheers, man.
One, mate. Yeah, well I think that's a good place to end it, mate, and thank you very much for coming. Where can everyone find you?
On Twitter and Instagram I'm at Kieran Gething, and on Facebook I'm Kieran Gething Boxing.
Brilliant, mate. And podcast is starting up. Has it got a name or is it yet to be
dropped?
No,
it's months away.
Months away. Right, mate. Pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Cheers.